wish none of this had happened.
So do all who live to see such times, but that is not for them to decide. All we have to decide is what to do with the time that is given to us.
It used to be, it's so good. I don't understand how we went from that to Snaggleface Galadriel. I am at a loss for words, and that doesn't happen very often. And well, let's be honest, it's not going to entirely happen now because I definitely have some stuff to say. I am absolutely devastated about this episode. It is unbelievable. Just the amount of member berries and I don't know another phrase for this outside of creative theft. So essentially, to give you guys a little bit of background, first of all, hello everyone. Thanks for being here. I'm sure that Warner Brothers will absolutely nail this stream because of that 5 seconds from much better interpretation, artistic expression of Tolkien's work. That was, of course, Peter Jackson. And I am flabbergasted that they are doing this to the, like, it makes total sense why they did what they did, because they wanted to be able to rip off Peter Jackson without him like getting in the way. So for those of you that don't remember, because you try to block everything you possibly can from this show out of your living memory, which, you know, makes you sane. 2 years ago, almost to the day, we got this news that Peter Jackson was ghosted by Rings of Power. Amazon ghosted him. Okay? He was cut out, cut off, ignored, was never really given the chance, right? And now we know why. They have absolutely, this entire episode, I think at least 40% of it was Peter Jackson dialogue. They gave Gandalf speaking to Frodo right there when they were in Moria trying to get through. And they gave that line to not Tom Bombadil. And it doesn't make sense in the context of which they're speaking. They're trying to sound deep and thoughtful and profound, but because they have no depth or talent, it's impossible. They can't fake it. They can't. It is beyond their ability. You know that, like, oh, just fake it till you make it. Fake it till you make it. No, it's not gonna work. I'm stunned that this is where we're at. When they weren't busy, cliff noting Peter Jackson's dialogue, they were trying to make us believe that this is Lovecraft, not Tolkien, because Celebrimbor is losing his ever-loving mind. Walks outside, looks around, walks outside after he is convinced he's heard the siege alarms. And he sees that it's sunny and bright, and there are children laughing and playing. And there are elves who are painting and conversing and staring up at the sky. Meanwhile, I'm over here and I'm like, you literally just heard siege bells. You just heard them. And you are doing nothing. What is happening? So, we have 2 episodes left in this god-awful show. And I think probably the insane part is that of the 6 episodes, we have had maybe 1 episode worth of actual plot driving narrative. It's unfreaking believable at this point where we are and how insane all of this is. I just blows it makes one's question one's own sanity. It really does. So the episode starts, so we're with the strength. First of all, I could care less about Nori and Poppy. I really could. We also Poppy kisses nobody, who apparently has lizard breath. It felt very much like that scene that went around for a long time. I think it's out of the second Disney movie. By not by fighting what we hate, but saving what we love. It reeked of that atrocity. So Poppy kisses a boy, but doesn't actually. He's very flustered and very weak-willed when he is talking to her, and she just sort of takes charge and she's like, "Oh, stop talking." And it's literally, the accent's that bad. "Oh, stop talking." And then she grabs his hand and then they kiss. And it's so forced and it's so ridiculous. Meanwhile, Anatar somehow goes from Eregion to Khazad-dûm and then back to Eregion in like a minute, 10 minutes. It's just a nice little jaunt, a little stroll. Somehow he gets Mithril from the mines, allegedly. But we're not sure how, because Durin the Third turns him down. Bro, the amount of... They say precious in this episode like 4 times. Like 4 times. They're like, perhaps you need something more precious. These rings are too precious. Like, it's just insane where we're at. We are heavily leaning on a far superior script and storyteller. And the thing is, they really do think that they are better at this than Tolkien. They really do. They think that it's the novel he never wrote. And they are attempting to, in some way, make Galadriel blameless for the fall of Eregion. So, for those of you that have not seen, my review of episode 5 dropped just a few days ago. And I will be doing a video on this episode as well, because my dear God. But my theory since season 1 has been that Adar is going to be Celebrimbor. Okay? That's it. Because there is not, shy of them, I don't know. They couldn't just introduce some rando. It just wouldn't make sense. But she calls Adar Orc, and he's like, Urik. And I was like, I hate this so much. And then after she is willing to work with the with the orcs, she is like willing to work with them. She's like, yeah, okay, we can do this. He's like, no, I don't think so. And because she's like, you need more than a legion of orcs. And then this stupid bint, oh my gosh, she's supposed to be, gosh, I don't even remember all of the titles that they artificially gave her that aren't accurate. But, you know, commander of the Northern Armies, this big, badass, unbreakable, just super duper elf, right? And, oh my god. One of the oldest interrogation methods. So here's the thing. They interrogate men and women differently. And there are generally two ways that they interrogate women. They either do unspeakable evil things to them that can really only be done to women, I'm sure you can guess. Or the other way, they make them incredibly comfortable, lavish them with stuff, and then women just start talking. Because that's what we do. That's what we do. We talk. Well, that's what Adar does, and it works on freaking Galadriel. Not only does she announce the fact that Elrond is on his way from Lindon to Eregion with, I think she says, with legions of elves or an army of elves, whatever, however she says it. She also says with Nenya, my ring. And I'm just sitting here and I'm like, you just gave him everything that he needed and wanted. Like, he literally has no need for you anymore because he knows that by the time the elves show up, it's going to be too late. He also knows that by the time the elves show up, what direction they're coming from. So it's going to make it that much harder for the elves to flank or outmaneuver his legions. And he's got he was like, oh, you think I would really go after him with just one legion of orcs? And then you walk up to this hill and then they start lighting campfires and it's supposed to be like this terrifying big reveal. And I'm like, I'm pretty sure this is copy and pasted. I am not for sure that it's copy and pasted, but a big part of me is pretty dang positive that they copy and pasted the little fires and the orcs around them. And she, no kidding, is like, you can't do this without me. I'm not going to tell you anything. And he dead ass looks at her and he's like, you told me everything I need to know. And I'm like, yeah, you did, stupid bint. Like, why are you volunteering information? First of all, he didn't even give you any food that you actually like. Second of all, that chair looked uncomfortable as heck, and you got shackled to that chair. So is it like a pride? It's got to be a pride thing at this point with why she is just volunteering information, accurate intel. I mean, now Adar knows who he's looking for with Nenya, who has that ring of power. He knows that there's an army of elves coming, so he can ambush them or set up a countermeasure before they even get there. And he also knows that, in fact, Sauron is hiding in Eregion, which how Galadriel would know this at this point is quite perplexing because he left to go to Khazad-dûm. So if he was there and they attacked Eregion, I can talk. So if he was in Khazad-dûm and they attacked Eregion, then he wasn't there. So now Eregion has been sacked for no reason. And in my prediction, I was like, she's going to help him take Eregion under the guise of trying to suss out Sauron. But rather than do that, They just made her completely fucking incompetent, excuse my language, and a terrible, ridiculous a pawn. She's literally a pawn. That I can't think of it. Like, she got played like a fiddle for the 5th, 6th, 7th time in this season of this show. She's supposed to have all this agency, and the writers are like, oh, we made her so strong and independent, and she's girl boss Galadriel, and she's gonna show you what it really means to rule over Middle Earth. Meanwhile, she has been tricked by small children and influenced by them. She has been given horrible advice about mass volume and density by her dead brother. She just sort of glossed over, like, if we go back to the very first episode of season 1 that, was released on the day that Professor Tolkien died, literally on Professor Tolkien's death day. She literally just brushes over the kinslaying. It's something, I can't remember exactly the lines, and I am not going to go find it right now because, oh God, this show. But it was something to the effect of, here is why the Noldor didn't always see eye to eye. So we left to find new lands. We just went on our merry way. Like, completely glossed over the kinslaying. I had to literally rewind it, and I was like, what? She did not just say that they had, like, disagreements and just, oh, we're just gonna move on. We're gonna go find new lands. It'll buff out. It'll be fine. Nah, bruh, I think you kind of left out the whole kinslaying bit. It was sort of important. But they brush right. That could have taken an entire season on its own. But no, we had to get to... Oh. Crap, I was just going to say that. Like, we had to get to her killing an ice troll in under 10 seconds. By herself, as she got flung off of a sword. This show doesn't obey the laws of physics at all. Because... And then everybody points out, well, Legolas was walking out in the snow. So one of 3 things happens there. Either he has learned how to disperse his weight similar to snowshoes that allow you to walk on the top of snow. He is a magical freaking elf that can, walk on compacted snow. Or Peter Jackson thought it would be funny. That's always a possibility too. Because it was very prominent that Legolas was not suffering like the rest of them. But I am astonished that she was able to stand on the tip of I got to get Shad at some point and ask, is it possible to fling a full-grown elf from the tip of a sword into an ice troll and then slice through it like a hot knife through butter? Just out of curiosity. Shad, if you're out there, these questions must be answered because I don't know. I have no idea if that's possible or not, even in the world of Tolkien, because, this is, of course, what is it that they like to say? It's fantasy. It's not real. It's okay. And yet, I wish with every fiber of my being, I will take Legolas. Like, by the way, if anybody tries to use the Hobbit as a defense, they need to be kicked in the shin with complete prejudice. Okay? Nobody liked that scene where Legolas was running up falling rocks. Absolutely nobody bought that. Everybody thought it was ridiculous. It was like they were trying to put the Matrix into Lord of the Rings. And that's a whole other rant for a whole other day. But science fantasy is not a thing. It isn't. It's either science fiction or it's fantasy. Okay? It's one or the other. It might have elements of both, but it is one or the other. It's not both. Science fantasy is not a thing. Stop trying to make it a thing. That's lazy people who are not smart enough to write science fiction. They'll write something like, oh, but like, how can we make this work? You know what? Don't even worry about it. We'll just say that the power was inside of her all along. And we'll throw in a magic system and it'll be fine because it's fantasy and it's fake and it doesn't matter. And the rules don't apply. No, once you build the rules of your universe, you must adhere by the rules of that universe or the entire narrative is shattered and suspension of disbelief is impossible. And this show can't even keep its own lore straight. Like, forget about Tolkien's lore, which they obviously have. They didn't even look at it. They didn't care. They ghosted Peter Jackson, wanted nothing to do with him, and are continuing to rip off his dialogue and his artistic expression and his view. And it must be really nice for them that they ghosted him because they can just continue to rip him off and not have to listen to him be like, hey, why don't we try something else? Because why would you hire the best of the best and actually put your money to good use when you can just write sloppy soap opera crap and get millions of dollars to line your own pocket? Like, why put in the hard work when the money is just there for the taking? You know what would be fantastic? If these people only got paid on the percentage, like based off of a percentage of how well it does. So like, kind of like when you do almost like a crowdfunding, right? So if someone does like a crowdfunding, it's like, okay, if we reach this threshold, you get this much of a paycheck. If we reach this threshold, you get this much of a paycheck. Because then that would be a pretty big freaking motivator for you to make a decent show that people actually want to watch and that adheres to, I don't know, the lore. Because what is the point of purchasing the rights to these pre-existing IPs that have been built into these juggernauts by the existing fan base if you're just going to literally rip their freaking the tops of their skulls off and crap down their throats once you get there, and then say, oh well, it has a built-in audience, so we know people will be there. The audience that you are currently crapping on and saying is toxic and selfish and self-centered and evil, that fan base, good God, yeah. Imagine if they only got paid based off of how successful their product was. But shit would change in Hollywood overnight. Like that. It would be immense and powerful, and people would not be effing around. They'd be like, yeah, no, sorry, bro, you don't got it. You don't have it. That ain't gonna cut it. This whole, I don't know if you guys have seen it, but JD Payne and Patrick McKay did an interview. I got to do a freaking video on that too. They did an interview and they're sitting there talking to one of the most soy boy effeminate individuals I have ever seen in my life. And I can't remember if it was Payne or McKay is like, well, yeah, the first season he's like, we refer to it as like building a pyramid and now we know how to build it. So we're just rebuilding the pyramid. I was like, bruh. So you're admitting that it's a Ponzi scheme? Appreciate that. Literally, he says it's building. You know what? Because I love you guys, and I want you to suffer with me. But love. It's a love suffering. It's a love suffering. Let me see if I can find it. Oh, we're gonna build us a pyramid because this is a Ponzi scheme. This is a Ponzi scheme, a Ponzi scheme, a Ponzi scheme. This whole thing is a money laundering front, I am telling you. There is no way on God's green earth that this show costs, I forget what the latest estimate is, but some unbelievable freaking number. It is wild to me that this has been allowed to occur. And that they are happy about it. Like they think that this is fun. Like, oh yeah, we're doing great. It's fantastic. It's all coming up gravy. And you're just like, what is wrong with you? But they essentially here. Let me. Oh, I found it. Let me see. Where is? I'm gonna get right to the pyramid comment, and you will hate and love me for it. I promise. Yep, here it is. Oh my gosh, it's in like the first 20 seconds. Here we go. Okay. I'm going to have to, oops, I made a boo-boo. I didn't share audio. Well, I didn't expect, okay, so we're going to do this. Then we're going to do this. Then we're going to do that, a little bit of that, some of that, and then definitely some of that. Mix it. Shake it up. Twist it. I mean, this thing's already twisted enough. Okay. Ooh, unmute. Here we go. Da-da-da-da. Here we are. Listen to this, like, it's a 10-second clip of just gobbledygook.
Large-scale endeavor. And I think, we like to say, season 1, we built a pyramid, working with many, many close collaborators, and we had never built a pyramid before. No one had. Coming to season 2, we're building another.
Nobody's ever written a show before, guys. Nobody's ever written a show before. Nobody's ever built anything from the ground up. And he literally just called it a pyramid. Like, I don't even think he realizes the Freudian slip he just did. I don't think he even recognizes what he just admitted to. He literally was just like, yeah, it's a Ponzi scheme. It's absolutely a pyramid scheme. We went to Amazon with a bill of goods, and we're making the poor suckers pay. And by poor suckers, I mean audience, because I do not give a flying flabberdoodle if freaking, what's it called? If Amazon has to pay out the nose for this trash. But nobody's ever done it before. We were the first. They were the first. The Rings of Power. They were the first. It's a beautiful pyramid. We didn't know how to build it, but we built it, and it was beautiful. And we got billions and billions and billions of dollars for it. Like, what the ever-loving frick? No one's ever built a pyramid before. I'm pretty sure, like, Tower of Babel existed. Not a pyramid, I know, but still. Tower of Babel existed. The Egyptians, the Mayans, the Incans, the Aztecs, the Mesopotamians. Like, what? What do you mean no one's ever built a pyramid? Nobody's ever told a story before. Guys, we don't have Beowulf from centuries ago. We don't have Shakespeare. We don't have Dickens or Clark or, the ancient mythology stories from Greece, Rome, the Persians, China, Japan, Korea, Egypt, Norse mythology, Germanic. None of that actually existed. Nothing happened before this show. This is the first show, guys. It's the very first story. Very first ones. If I saw a couple people just joined, I'm not kidding. Re-listen to what this egomaniac just said. Listen to this.
Large-scale endeavor. And I think, we like to say, season 1, we built a pyramid, working with many, many close collaborators, and we had never built a pyramid before. No one had.
Nobody built a pyramid before, guys. Nobody's ever done it. No one's ever made a show. No one's ever written a story. No one's ever adapted a screenplay. It's never happened before. Nobody has reached into Tolkien's works and absolutely crapped on them and the fan base. This is all them. They are this is brand new information. This has never happened before. It's a pyramid scheme, guys. Don't buy this for 1 second. I don't remember somebody in the chat, I know you guys will know because the chat is undefeated. How much is an episode cost this season? It's way, hold on. It's way up there, isn't it? Da 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 da. Okay, so according to estimates, It should be. There's no way that's accurate. That has got to be a lie. There is no freaking way this episode is estimated at $81 million. There's no way. What? 80. What is actually, yes, 58 million, 60 to 100 million. What is happening? I'm sorry, Vespi. Apologies, you left your graphing calculator downstairs. That is unfortunate. I don't understand. Nothing happened. Galadriel opened her big fat mouth, and then at the very end of the episode, in the last 10 seconds, that catapult, the flaming catapult scene that we've seen in just about every single teaser and trailer and advert for this ungodly show. Yeah, you see it in the last like 4 seconds of the episode. Like literally, Galadriel opens her mouth. Oh, Disa scream yells at people and channels her inner Batman and sends bats after dwarves who are apparently scared of bats, even though they have lived in caves. They've lived in the mountain, in the mines their entire life and have obviously come across bats before. Like, this whole thing is just a mockery of actual talented people. That's all it is. So, yeah, we have the good old showrunners admitting that the whole thing is a Ponzi scheme. And they have no idea what they're doing. And this is where we are now. This is us. This is where we're at. This is where we are. They ghosted Peter Jackson and then ripped off everything from his script. They're paying way too much money, and they've admitted that it is a pyramid scheme. Fantastic. But don't worry, guys. In Rings of Power, Season 2, Episode 6, where is he? The women are taking over. Brace yourselves for a creepy ending. No, not at all. Not even a little bit. There are so many individual stories in this week's episode that it's hard to believe there are only 2 more left. No, it's not. Nothing has happened in this show. There have not been any plot-driving narratives at all. Like, out of the 6 episodes, you could condense it down into 1 episode of actual plot drive. Maybe not even, because these are like an hour and 6-minute episodes or something like that. I don't even think you have an hour. I think you've got like 40 minutes of actual plot, if that. And I'm being very generous. I am being so generous. So you've got Galadriel opening up her mouth, falling for one of the oldest interrogation tactics ever. Like, if you guys remember Curse of the Black Pearl, the Pirates of the Caribbean, the first movie, way back when, when movies were still good. That movie was based on a ride, and it's better than a show based on not based, but claiming to be based on J.R.R. Tolkien's works. What clown universe did I land in when they flipped on the freaking CERN collider? Up is down, down is backwards, left is in the core of the sun, apparently. It's just insane. So you've got Galadriel. She is considering and accepting, like, working for the enemy. She's being fed food that she doesn't like, or refuses to eat. And she's not even put in like a super comfy chair. But if you remember in like Pirates of the Caribbean, when they're watching her eat, because they can't taste food, and because it just turns to ash in their mouth, and he's telling her the story, and it sets stuff up beautifully. That is good storytelling. That is good crafting of your narrative and plot driving, and you understand that there's more going on than meets the eye. And then they do the reveal of what they actually look like in the moonlight. And so that all works really, really well. And she semi falls for, and so Elizabeth Swann is semi lured in. She starts to chow down on the food, and he starts talking to her, and she is giving more information, even if it's incomplete information. It's more information than they had, right? And so that makes sense. It doesn't make sense that Galadriel is just going to start opening her mouth and spilling all of the intel that she has. It doesn't make any sense at all. Then you have Disa, who is attempting to like banshee scream at the other dwarves so that they don't dig any further, because the two Dorans aren't seeing eye to eye. And so Prince Doran and King Doran won't take off the ring. He calls it, I've got nothing to prove to you, boy. The ring is mine. It belongs to me. Yes, he actually says that. And then Prince Doran is like, oh no, it's the other way around. And I'm like, oh, nice. Cause you couldn't go, with there's no need to get angry. It is just ridiculous. And so Disa gets pissy because she's like, that man on the throne is not your father. We have to usurp him. And she's like, we'll lay down in front of the mine if we have to. And he's like, they'll send armies. And she's like, well, then we'll just, we'll have to make him, like, if he does that, then everyone will see that he's not fit to rule. And then they make Prince Doran cry. Over King Doran. And then Princess Disa is consoling Prince Doran, who is crying like a little baby. He's crying like a little baby. And I am just blah. Flabbergasted at how bad it is. And then she banshee screams at them, and then bats come down and they run away. And then Prince Doran is like, oh, I love you. And she's like, love me later. We have more work to do. And he's like, they'll be back and there'll be more of them. And she's like, well, then we've got to prepare. And then Prince Doran's like, yes, and we'll be ready. And I was like, what? How are you going to be ready? Nobody's listening to you. That your whole thing 5 minutes ago was that nobody is listening to you. What is happening? So yeah, so that's what's going on with the dwarves. And then Anatar showed up prior to that and was like, hey, I need more mithril. And they were like, nah. And then King Doran was like, you heard him. They need the mithril. They'll be back and we can name our price. And that's when Prince Doran is like, you've lost your mind. But somehow Anatar walks out with pure mithril ore that has been refined to a powder. And it's the best that they have ever unearthed. I don't even know what to call it. Like, I was still trying to wrap my head around the fact that he walked out with an entire container of mithril ore. And now the container isn't very big. It's not. But he obviously had that on him the entire time. Like, obviously. So my prediction was that Galadriel was going to help Adar sack Eregion, but they would like do it side by side, and then the rule would be don't hurt any of the elves, just go after Sauron, right? Instead, they made her wildly incompetent. She blabbed about the army of elves coming from Lindon, what direction they were coming from, and the fact that they had their ring, that they had her ring, Nenya. So she gave him everything he needed, so he bolted her back to the chair so that she could watch as he sacked Eregion. So the show is trying to, like, wipe her hands of any wrongdoing. But it is, in fact, still very much her fault because she couldn't keep her mouth shut. Fell for one of the oldest interrogation tactics of all time. It's just It's wild, bruh. Then you've got Celebrimbor, who's clearly losing his mind. Is ignoring the obvious truths, and is starting to spiral. And then continues to stay locked away up in his tower while Eregion is attacked. And then Nori and Poppy, Nori is like, why don't you just move? Be free of them. And she's like, this is our home. My ma and da, they built this place for me. And then when I married my husband, it was under that there tree. And then when he died last year, I buried him under it. And one day when I pass on, he'll bury me right next to him. And I'm just like, oh my God, what is, like, this has nothing to do with anything. I actually hate what I am being forced to watch right now. And by forced to watch, I don't mean that like someone was holding my eyelids open. I mean the fact that Amazon put it in this stupid ass show. And I'm watching it so you don't have to. And God be with you. I hope you don't, because So you have that plot line thread or whatever. Then you've got not Tom Bombadil taking not Gandalf to go find his stick. And not Gandalf is like, I've had a vision. How do I master the sacred fire? And not Tom Bombadil is like, what would it need with a master like you? And then not Gandalf is like, well, then what am I to do? And then literally not Tom Bombadil abandons him in the desert looking at endless dead trees. And he's got to go find his staff, but that will only happen when he has a vision of heart where he is completely given himself to the sacred fire. I was like, well, that sounds like some culty shit, but all right. And then we are at, so that is not Gandalf and not Tom Bombadil, Nori, Poppy, and the Stoors, who, Poppy is making out with nobody, and then making fun of his breath. Galadriel opened her big fat mouth. Celebrimbor still falling for Anatar's tricks. Anatar went down to Khazad-dûm. And King Doran and Prince Doran, who are not supposed to be alive at the same time, get into a fight. And King Doran, flings Prince Doran across the hall in front of the throne. Meanwhile, a bunch of dwarves are bringing gold and putting it at King Doran's feet. And then we've got the Numenorians. So, not Queen. She's supposed to be the Queen Regent, but we're not even gonna. So bad. She takes the place of Elendil to be judged by the Valar, and she is, of course, found innocent. Because obviously, no one else had ever been found innocent, had survived that judgment. But of course, she did. On that note, let's see what Elle has to say about this. Fucking horoscopes? What is this shit? I wish that this was over. I can't believe there's still 2 more episodes of this crap. How will these narratives merge into one? They won't. One thing we do know is the 4 storylines which will intertwine eventually. No, they won't. Oh, I forgot about oh my gosh, I can't even think of his name. Not Legolas. He kills a couple of orcs and he pulls out a message from one of their armbands because he knew to look there for some reason. All 4 of these storylines, which will intertwine eventually, God help us, all share the same theme. Listen to women. Get the hell out of here. From Numenor's former queen to the strong-willed Disa to the 2 Harfoots, this episode of The Rings of Power had women figuring things out and taking charge. Yeah, that one. Don Lemonless. Not Legolas. The Return of the Queen. I hate mainstream media. My gosh. In Numenor, Elendil is on trial for inciting an illegal congregation that resulted in a death and high treason against the new kingdom under Pharazôn. It's Al-Pharazôn, but whatever. The court offers Elendil the option of being set free by renouncing his crimes and pledging his loyalty to Pharazôn as the true king. Though he renounces his crimes, he rejects Pharazôn as king, calling Miriel the true ruler of Numenor. Arianne tells her imprisoned father that he will, the fake daughter, by the way, that he will, completely made up by Amazon, that he will face trial by the abyss, thrown into a lagoon to face a giant sea worm. She tearfully begs him to swear fealty to Pharazôn and save himself. Elendil refuses, which she expected, so she brings in Miriel to change his mind. Miriel commands him to bow before Pharazôn because Numenor needs men like Elendil while subtly confessing her feelings for him. He says if the Valar want him to live, he will survive the trials. Basically, while he is in the prison cell, he was like, he is one of the best characters in this show, and they do everything they can to absolutely cuck him. Like, letting the woman face the judgment in his place. Anyway, I didn't leave my dog on. They think they're dying. Anyway, so he's sitting in there and he was like, if we are to lead by faith, we have to walk by it. And then she shows up after he is about to get, right before he gets tossed into the lagoon. And she was like, if we are to walk by faith, then let me be the one to take the first step. And I'm like, oh my God, this is some soap opera fucking trash, if ever there was any. Good golly gee willikers. Unfrickin' believable. As Elendil is about to enter the lagoon, Miriel declares to Pharazôn that she has a right as Elendil's former ruler to go in his place. That's not what happened. She said that because he was committing the crimes in her name, that she has the right to stand in for him to face judgment. Holy crap, Raider! Thank you so very much. Raider comes in with that random amount that he loves to do. This time it's $51.37. He says nothing. He just comes in and, drops it and then walks out like a Chad. Thank you so much, Raider03. I genuinely appreciate it from the bottom of my heart. And everybody in the chat for being here as you see what kind of travesty has unfolded. When she enters the lagoon, she is immediately dragged underwater to face the sea worm. Nah, she floats there for a few seconds, actually. She's chilling there. After a stillness in the water, Lord Balzagar begins to announce Miriel's death until she is washed back onto shore alive. First of all, she didn't get washed back onto shore. It's like the thing ejected her. Literally ejected her from the water. She would be crushed. Literally destroyed by the force of that ejection. It is insane how hard she got thrown out of that pool of water. Genuinely, truly. Actually, he does say the sea is always right. We get that line again in this episode. Haven't heard it yet this season. This is the first time this season. But it returns. It returns. But because she survives, she is deemed innocent. Elendil and the crowd hails Miriel, Queen of the Sea, causing Pharazôn to turn to the Palantir for guidance. When he touches the Palantir, he sees Anatar Sauron. Oh, that man is definitely going to get a ring. Yeah, I can't remember whose stream I was on, but I think that they are going to try and so the part of the, how can I say this? There's a difference between mystery box and actual mystery. And that's not what Rings of Power is doing at all. So those of you, so a lot of you know the Witch King of Angmar. I think that they are going to attempt to make Alfarazon into the Witch King of Angmar because nobody knows, but one of the most widely accepted theories about his origin is that the Witch King was at one point a Numenorian. Most likely he was. So I think that that's where they're going with that. I still think Adar is going to be Celeborn, and I still think that Miranda, or whatever her name is going to turn out to be Celebrian, which is, of course, Celeborn and Galadriel's daughter. I think they are going to attempt to do all of that so that they can be like, see, we're so smart, we're so clever. All of these things that you claimed you wanted, they're here. They never left. They're all right here. I am blah. Just gross. So yeah, I think they're going to make Farazon the Witch King of Angmar, which for many reasons would not work, doesn't make sense, and destroys more lore. Absolutely. We are small but mighty. Oh gosh. The stranger sees Nori and Poppy in trouble in a vision and asks Tom Bombadil, not Tom Bombadil, how to master these visions and fight back against the darkness. Tom leads the stranger to a bunch of trees, hoping he'll find his staff to hone in on his visions. The stranger complains there is no time and requests he could return to resume his magical task. Not Tom reveals that the stranger can never return to this place if he leaves, and he must understand that as Sauron and the Dark Wizard grow in power daily, every soul in Middle-earth is in peril. The stranger must decide his destiny. This doesn't even make sense. Oh god, for so many reasons. It can't be Gandalf because of the timeline, but they're going to make it be Gandalf. They don't care about the lore. They are bastardizing it left, right, and center. Yeah, there's the tree that she has tended to since she was a little girl, tall enough to reach it. This is the house that her parents built for her. And apparently her husband is buried down here somewhere underneath it. So, yeah, that's the tree. Back with the Stoors, Nori learns from Gundabul Earthhaller why they won't leave their home as the skeleton mask riders are coming. Gundabul explains that they were all born and raised here for generations. It is their home. Nori blames herself for the misfortune she's caused the Stoors and wants to turn herself into the riders. But Poppy tells her that could put the entire world at risk because what they're doing is important and they should put their Harfoot down and fight back. Meanwhile, Poppy is living her best life, finding love with nobody, and they enjoy a sweet date that ends with a kiss. Literally. Yep. That is, yeah. Also, Poppy, the whole thing of like, if you say something long, like if you tell a lie enough times, like it will morph into the truth, and we all know that's a lie. Poppy literally says to Nori, after Nori's like, I'm gonna go turn myself in, she's like, here's the thing about you saying it so many times. I start to, when you say stuff over and over, I start to believe you. And I'm just over here like, fucking what? I was like, it doesn't matter how many times you repeat a lie, it's still a lie. But it doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. This is where we're at. Listen, I haven't watched soap operas since, my grandma. So it's been like a decade and a half. I remember they were better written than this trash. Like, way better. And, D-Day Direwolf, a member for 22 months. Thank you so much, D-Day Direwolf. I appreciate you from the bottom of my heart and soul. He's been a grave master for 22 months. That is our highest tier. Thank you so much. Yo, what's up, D-Day? So, yeah. Literally, they just said Poppy is living her best life. She's living her best life. I don't even know what to do with this show. What's going on down under? Phrasing. Back at Khazad-dûm, the dwarves have been digging up mounds of treasure for the king, so much that it surrounds King Durin's throne. Anatar Sauron visits the kingdom requesting to buy or exchange more mithril, but is rejected by the greedy king. God, give me strength. Anatar Sauron leaves peacefully, but not before talking with Balrog. Yes, very briefly, you saw it in the trailers, like the torch flickers, and you can see that it's like the shape of like a Balrog, its head, and stuff like that. So he's had his little chat with the Balrog somehow. Because it doesn't answer to him. And then he leaves, and he somehow has Mithril with him when he goes, because of course he does. And then Durin the Fourth believes that King Durin is finally listening to him about Anatar Sauron, but is disappointed to find his father wants to drive up the demand for Mithril because prices go up in times of war. Yeah, King Durin is like the personification of capitalism to them, even though it's not capitalism. It's, price gouging and artificial, like, not that Mithril isn't rare, but it's literally an artificial shortage so that you can drive up the prices. Yeah, that's essentially what's going on here. But of course, Anatar already has what he wants or needs. Oh, yep. See, they even said it. But in all so because prices go up in times of war, Durin demands his father take off the ring. But in old Smeagol fashion, the king says the ring belongs to him as he gently strokes the jewel as if in a trance. They are literally ripping off so much from Peter Jackson's trilogy. It's insane. Durin attempts to remove the king's ring, but is thrown to the ground. No. He's not just thrown to the ground. Look at this picture. They're up on these steps, and this old Durin flings this Durin all the way back here. All the way back here. It's insane. Now Disa is mad. Capital M-A-D. No one disrespects her man in the mountain. She wants to start a rebellion to block the king's further expansion into the caves. Durin the Fourth hesitates at first, heartbroken to fight against his father, but agrees it needs to be done. As the king's dwarves begin to dig further in the mines, Disa uses her stone singing abilities to summon the cave bats to deter the dwarves' process. Go, Disa! Only women seem to get things done around here. What is this article? What is this article? What is actually happening right now? Yes, I told you. She literally chased away dwarves with bats. Like, it was a Disney princess thing. She sang, and then the creatures came running, or flapping rather, and then they screeched and they chased the bad men away. Like, all that was missing from that scene was, you simply adopted the dark. I was born of it. That's the only thing that was missing from that scene. I'm amazed they didn't do some crap like that. Oh my god. This is literally where we're at. I can't. Only women seem to get things done around here. Who wrote this trash? Laura Siracool. That's not a real name. Okay. All right, Laura. Whatever you say. Obviously, you know best. War. What is it good for? Copyright claims. Aaron, that's what it is. That is not Legolas's fake name, because he's a fake made up Amazon edition, because apparently, Tolkien did not have an extensive world building with characters that have extensive background and genealogies or anything like that. Not at all. Arendir is seen following orcs who have deserted Adar's army because they did not want to go to war. Oh, that's right. The poor innocent orcs who just want to raise their families in peace. Another orc ambushes Arendir, who ends up slaying them all. He finds a map on one of the orcs that leads to Eregion. There was definitely writing on that map. I assumed it was a message and a map, but apparently I'm giving this show way too much credit. Bruh. There are no words. Cut to Celebrimbor, who grows frustrated with his failed creations for the Rings of Men, demanding more mithril. They've run out of metal resources and the dwarves are late on their shipments. His elves confront his ill behaviors lately as he exhibits signs of early madness or stress, becoming easily agitated and forgetting his elven apprentices' names. He forgot one, and it's Miranda, or whatever her name is. Miradonia, whatever he calls her, Miranda. Anatar Sauron offers some comfort, but it's hard to tell if he's the cause of Celebrimbor's troubles. Who? Laura! We know he's the cause. He is literally sowing the seeds. Morgoth was the discord in the Song of Creation. Sauron is simply doing exactly what his master also did. Sowing discord and distrust and wreaking havoc. Obviously, he is the cause. Ridiculous. Did you not watch the episode, Laura? He literally he somehow Sauron is able to brain hack Celebrimbor, one of the strongest, wisest, most capable elves in all of Middle-earth, and convince him that he has walked out into a bright, sunny day and that everything is fine and children are laughing and his people are painting and singing and dancing and all is right with the world. Obviously, he is the cause of Celebrimbor's troubles. What? Laura, go watch the episode. If I had to do it, you can do it too. Good God. As the leader of Eregion, Celebrimbor must address his people, but he would rather focus entirely on the rings. Not entirely true. That was a deception used by Sauron so that he could run things in the city and leave them at the mercy of the orcs, because I refuse to call them Uruks. Uruks. So, Anatar Sauron becomes in charge of administrative matters on his behalf. No, he takes that over. He's not made or put in charge. He simply takes it. He tells the rest of the Elven Smiths to leave Celebrimbor alone to finish the task, leading to another creepy moment between Miranda and Anatar Sauron, where the latter gently holds and strokes her hand in the most Jill Goldberg-esque way. Really. To ensure Miranda keeps everyone out of Celebrimbor's forge. Telling you, she is going to end up being Celebrian. Like, it's going to happen. Now that Anatar Sauron has authority over Eregion, Miranda and the soldiers alert Anatar and Sauron of a dead soldier's body who has been killed by orcs, carrying a message on his corpse that says, "Where is he?" Oh, he is definitely Sauron. I'm so sick of this crap. Obviously. Also, this is supposed to be Feanor. You can't see it from this angle, but they make him really old. He would have died. He died young. And he's holding what is supposed to be a Silmaril, I believe. And then while they're out here, see, this is all fake. This is the illusion that he put into Celebrimbor's eyes and head. So he gave him the hammer, and there's the mithril container. I told you it was small. It's not about size, it's about how you use it, right? 1/9 per ring. Something like that. Pardon me. And then he has a half man bun in this episode. I have no idea what the costume department, like what they're thinking, but he has half a man bun, and this wig has a really bad dye job. Carrying on. Back at the orcs camp, Adar knows Galadriel is desperately searching for Sauron, intending to destroy him, which is what Adar wants too. He describes Sauron and his ability to get inside people's heads and desires, to which Galadriel thinks same. Adar suggests an alliance between the orcs and elves using Morgoth's crown, the same one that killed the other face Sauron in the first episode, and the elven rings to rid of Sauron. Adar then correctly deduces Halbrand is Sauron and is in Eregion, which Galadriel confirms, telling him of Sauron's plan to create rings of power and to take over Middle-earth. She agrees with Adar they must work together in order to end Sauron's reign. Told you, literally agrees. She accepts the agreement with a freaking orc. Unbelievable. Suddenly, Adar turns against Galadriel, tricking her into revealing the elves' plan. Told you, she's an idiot. Knowing the elves would never leave the orcs alone, he plans to take his orc army to besiege Eregion, including its elves. Galadriel warns Adar that this is a trap and exactly what Sauron wants to happen. Sauron has no army, so he uses the orc army to battle the elves. See? Literally, he sat her down at a table and she spilled her guts. That's not even a comfortable chair. At least get a cushion. Good Lord. She's supposed to be this tough, battle-hardened warrior, elf, princess, beauty. And within 30 seconds of sitting down at a table in an uncomfortable chair, she is just blabbing away all of the secrets. It's just fucking wild that actually worked. Cannot freaking believe it. Unfreaking real. That doesn't even look good. I'm pretty sure that chicken is not cooked. I don't know what's on her plate. It actually kind of looks like lasagna. That looks like a really big dinner roll. That's obviously some kind of... bovine, maybe? Swine? Who knows? It's probably troll. It's probably the ice troll that she slayed in under 30 seconds. I don't know what all this is. It looks like the bats that Disa sent after the dwarves. And then there's, like, I guess fruit sprinkled throughout the table. Pomegranate seeds. Don't eat it. You'll be in the underworld forever. Good Lord. Unreal. Yeah, but she literally agrees. She aligns herself with the orcs. Like, what the actual frickety fruita? While Celebrimbor is working on ring designs, he hears the siege alarm being rung in his town, to which Anatar Sauron says everything's under control. Celebrimbor refuses to stay in the forge to see what is happening to his people, pushing Anatar Sauron away. Spell is then cast on Celebrimbor by Anatar Sauron, having Celebrimbor only see that Eregion is at peace and happy, rather than the reality of impending doom and disarray. Celebrimbor has calmed down, but cannot forge more rings without Mithril. Anatar Sauron presents Mithril ore in powder form from Khazad-dûm, which I'm guessing is from Balrog. No, well, probably. And proceeds to give Celebrimbor a pep talk, aka gaslighting, to focus on the rings. Celebrimbor feels refreshed and ready to work on the rings. In the most unhinged scene, no, they use that term way too loosely. As Sauron walks away from the happy illusion of Eregion and into the darkness and chaos surrounding him, he creepily smiles, knowing what is about to unfold. Destruction. Bruh. How is this a real article? And like, girls get it done! Just make it stop. Amazon, what's it going to take to cancel this show? Acolyte got canceled, so don't tell me it can't happen. Dreams do come true. God is real, for sure. Oh, yeah, look. It's the crown that Sauron got on his knees for and allowed himself to be Caesared with. Sauron is not going to get on his knees for anybody. He barely did it for Morgoth. He's sure as shit not going to do it for anyone else. Unreal. Listen here, Maza. We need to have a talk. I don't know what it's going to take. I don't know if I can sue, but by God, I'm going to try, because that is got to be the shittiest of shit takes that have ever shitted a take. Love you. Southeastern Kaiju for $2. Thank you so much, Southeastern Kaiju. I appreciate you. Love you. Thank you so much. Why I canceled Prime 2 years ago after 15 years. Yeah, amen, bruh. Amen. Now, obviously, because we follow the letter of the law here always, I would never condone sailing the high seas to find a Jack Sparrow version of this if you needed to watch it for review purposes or something like that. And if anybody wants to give you crap about how, oh my gosh, I can't believe you're giving them watch time, it doesn't matter if it's not on Amazon Prime or not, or this, that, or the other, you're covering it, you're giving them exposure. Bruh, I have 7,600 subscribers, all of whom I am incredibly grateful for and humbled by on the daily. I truly am. But if you think that me watching this show and then talking about how bad it is going to keep this show going, I don't think you understand how markets work. But on top of that, On top of that, if I watch this and then I tell you, like, literally, I said everything that was in this article before I read the article. So clearly, like, I was telling you all the truth. So if I can watch this and prevent one other person or encourage someone else, one other person to not watch it, then it's a wash. But if two people choose not to watch it after listening to my review and feeling that they got enough out of it, then I have literally doubled their loss. Like, I have recovered the loss from me watching it as well as double that loss. So I just need, everybody's just like, oh my gosh, you're never going to get like signatures. It's never going to be this big movement. I don't need it to be a big movement. If I can just reach two people, then that is successful, because that is twice as many people not watching it as are watching it. So it cancels out my view and then some. So the fact that this is even a discussion, all of it is just so, it is predictable, while at the same time you don't give them enough credit for just how crappy they can actually be and how low they will actually sink. It's insane that this is where we are, but it is in fact where we are. Girls, get it done. Girls, get it done. I'm a girl. I'll get a lot of stuff done. I don't get near as much stuff done as my husband. He can outwork me like it is absolutely nobody's business. And that's fine. I'm glad that I have a husband who is willing to work hard and that challenges me to work hard in my areas. So I'll take that any day of the week. But I digress. This show is trash. Poppy is the only one living her best life. None of the storylines make sense. They've bastardized the lore. They've destroyed Mithril somehow. So now apparently the Balrog is like, I guess, I don't know, a master, a master miner or something, able to refine Mithril into a powder. It's just like, it's unfreaking believable. The C's always right, unless it's not. Dude, Elendil's fake daughter annoys the shit out of me. I hate her. She is a spoiled little brat who's also very annoying. Like, sometimes you meet spoiled brats, but they actually add something to the conversation or have something interesting to say. But not her. She is literally a selfish, self-centered, narcissistic, egotistical, just wench. Terrible. It is unfreaking believable. I don't even know what to do. Southeastern Kaiju says, I'll gladly pay LGM, Gary, Disparu, JSG, suggest some guy, etc. for them to watch it, so I don't have to. Your contributions, support, love, and appreciation are greatly appreciated and truly humbling. I'm going to speak for everybody else on that list as well and say that that's truly humbling and genuinely appreciated from the bottom of the heart. Thank you so much, Southeastern Kaiju. Work hard, play even harder. Nudge, nudge, wink, wink. Ayo. It is a team effort, proven 22x. And you know what? I appreciate every single one of you guys being here. But chat, that's where we are. That's where we're sitting. That was episode 6. It absolutely destroyed so much lore. And it didn't even attempt to hide how much it was jacking things up. Unbelievable. I don't recommend this show. Keep your sanity. Keep your joy. And spend your time on something else. Like, everybody here is a grown man or woman. You all work hard. I know you do. You all have to manage your time in the best way for you, as well as, what you do with your income. But that's not just money, also your time. So I recommend wasting neither on this god awful travesty of a show and just go watch Peter Jackson's trilogy, the extended editions, obviously. Go watch the Lethal Weapon quartet, the trilogy, like, so the 4 Lethal Weapons. I don't even remember. There's like 5 diehards. Go watch those. Go watch The Mummy from 1999. Absolutely fantastic. Mummy Returns, also very good. Not quite on par with The Mummy in my humble opinion, but both of them are worth your time. Absolutely. Go watch, I would even say go watch the extended Hobbit edition. Like, pretty much anything else except Agatha. Don't go watch Agatha. That is, episode 1 was a boring slog, and episode 2, I think they were on acid when they wrote it because it doesn't make any sense. It's insane and stupid. Like, there's no way that a sober individual that makes critical thinking, has critical thinking skills and makes sound decisions, wrote that episode. There's just directed. There's no way that. God, episode 2 is a mess. The whole thing is a mess. Episode 1 was just kind of meh. Like, it had the same beats of like your normal procedural, but then you get to episode 2 and you're just like, bro, what is this actually? But we're not here to talk about Agatha. We're going to wrap up about Rings of Power season 2, episode 6. It was terrible. It was nothing but member berries and key jangles. Literally. I cannot de-recommend, downvote, warn you away from this god-awful show enough. It is so, so bad, guys. It's so bad. Ugh. Yeah, on Livian, that is exactly what I said. 100%. Yep, you got me. What the frick? You and Mazza, I tell you what, you're going to drive me insane. Hey, they. So, I hope that you guys had fun. This was fun for me. Thank you for everybody for showing up. Means the world. It's truly humbling. And don't watch this show. Don't waste your time. Don't waste your money. Don't put your sanity at risk. This is not one of these things. Oh my gosh, Legionist is like you were reading my mind. Like, this isn't where it's bad. It's so bad that it's good. This is just flat out bad. So, thanks, guys. Same to you. So, I appreciate every single one of you guys being here. Love you all to bits and pieces. It truly means a lot. You are an incredible chat. You remain undefeated. And I am so appreciative that you were willing to spend some of your very, I'll use the word precious, time with me. And for those of you that send in super chats and member chats, like, it really does mean a lot. I genuinely appreciate you guys. Thank you so much. Keep an eye out for this video's review, and I'm still finishing up my other ones. I'm working on a lot of stuff right now. Hopefully I'll start. You guys, it's feast or famine. You guys are going to have not a whole lot, and then all of a sudden it's just going to be like every 2 days or whatever, you've got something. So keep an eye out for all of that. I'll be trying to stream a lot more too and spend some time with you guys. So again, I appreciate you. Thank you so much for being here. You guys are undefeated. Much love. God bless. Don't watch ROP. And we'll talk to you later. Bye.